Danny Lauby, thank you very much for joining me today. It's nice to see you again. Just first of all, how is everything? How are you doing?
Oh, all good. Yeah, thanks for having me.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Back, obviously, from the UK Open. Couple of positive results, getting some wins on the board there. How do you reflect on your time down in Minehead?
No, it was good. No, I was happy with my performance. I didn't really deliver the goods against Ryan, but no, it's a great tournament. It's probably my favorite one to play, really, as far as the majors I've been involved in. So no, I did a lot of positives to take from it, uh, and to build on as well. So no, could have been better, should have been better.
That first game, obviously, you were meant to play Tim Walters, but he pulled out of that game. Was that a bit of a strange experience not having to play that one, having maybe prepared for it?
Yeah, I don't usually get that kind of luck. That was just a free hit. So I was happy to be able to capitalize on that. Um, and yeah, no, I didn't see that one coming at all. So I was pretty fortunate there.
You mentioned there about the UK Open being one of your favourite tournaments to go to. Just explain why is the UK Open up there for you?
Well, it's like that whole like FA draw thing, It's and just the energy in that room. You got the three rooms. It's a very like intimate room in those backboards too. That you feel that crowd, you feel everything, and it's just I don't know. It's just a really good environment. I really liked it.
The Danny Lauby's getting into the FA Cup. Have you seen a soccer match or a football match over here yet?
Yeah, I've seen a few. Unfortunately, I'm not super proud to say, but I'm a Cheltenham fan because my mate and manager, the only games I have seen have been Cheltenham games, and the best they've done is draw on one of them. So that's I have to stay loyal and true. So I'm a Cheltenham fan, unfortunately. But
Good man. Um, the UK Open, as you say, with the 160 players there, the three different rooms, it's quite a hectic
yeah,
tournament.
it
How
is.
difficult is it to sort of, I guess, organize yourself and make sure you're actually in the right place at the right time? Because we've seen players miss games before.
I, yeah, I didn't. But that's I think down to your support team that you have with you. If, I mean, I didn't have any trouble with that at all. You kind of see the draw, and you know when you're about to be on thereabouts. So just preparation, really. You
Hmm.
know.
Obviously, you got the bye against Tim, but you got a very good win over Daryl Pilgrim, who's started his PDC career really well. That must be
Yeah,
a positive moment for you to get a win over someone who's in really good form.
yeah, he's a formidable player. Uh, Definitely a top player, and yeah, no, I was on it that game, um, and he played well as also. I just kind of stayed on him, like you have to do with the high end players.
Yeah. And you followed that with a win over Brendan Dolan, very experienced player, won many PDC titles. We know obviously Brendan wasn't quite his best, neither were you in that game, but you're the man that managed to get the win. These sort of things that build the confidence heading into the season now.
Yeah, no, I guess it was more like yeah, you're right. We both didn't play particularly well, and you can tell. It's frustrating for like I'm playing him and I'm seeing him not play very well, and you're like, oh, come on, take these shots, take these shots. He's letting you in, and I would break and not hold and break and not hold, and but I felt like that those two games, the way I felt playing was good. Like I felt good, even though it didn't really show in some moments, but I felt comfortable. That's what I'm taking away from those. I mean, there were wins, but the way that my action was going, the release, everything just felt right. So I'm gonna just build on that and going into next week.
Has that always been the case over the last sort of year or so since you've been on the tour where the release and everything has felt well, or is that something that's maybe come back a little
Yeah,
bit more?
it's something that it's just different. You're playing at a high level, and I'm just you constantly trying to find a way to level up, right? Be more consistent. That's always been my thing, right? I can be brilliant, or I could just be inconsistent. And you want to at that point, when you get back to the office, get back home, back on the practice board, you think to yourself, what can I do? Maybe a little change in your throw, or what is it that I can do to be more consistent or feel? But for me, in my style of play, I've learned, especially from this weekend, is that it's all just mental game and just rhythm. I need to just stay in my rhythm and not try to, over produce kind of thing, right? And I think every player's got that same sort of story in some capacity of them trying to just perfect something, unless you're Littler, who's just got it. He's just doing it. He's just going through it and the motions, and he's just ridiculous. So that's a different situation. But I think every dart player's got that kind of thing, and I think I went through a phase last year where I was kind of trying too hard to find something that you got the goods if you're on the tour. So it's just mental game, isn't it?
Yeah. You talk about rhythm there. Is that something that was maybe even a little bit difficult to find against Brendan? We know he's a slower player, but that is his pace. That's what you know you're going to get when you play Brendan.
Yeah, I don't mind playing like a slow player as much as it's my own rhythm. So before we went, me and my manager, we were watching some old matches with me from years ago, and I just realized, and it was good games. My first UK Open actually, and I saw that style playing, and I started just putting that like to what I'm doing now, and I'm like, wow, that's what I need to go back to. That's like my authentic throw, and I just kind of just thought that shot and just went back to basics really, and that's what I mean by like I almost felt like I got back to where I needed to be because I almost like you kind of lose yourself when you start trying new things and start thinking, oh, I tried this new thing and it worked well. Maybe I should stick with it. And then under pressure, things change, and now it gets all confusing, and now you don't even know how to hold a dart. Sometimes it's like you can kind of get caught in the middle of trying too hard. And we were watching some old games back, and kind of that was very crucial to my performance in those first two games.
Yeah. You seem like you're in a really positive space going into this year. We know last year maybe didn't go quite as well as you want, but the space that you're in now seems like you're ready to attack
Oh, absolutely.
2025 and give it a real good go.
Yeah, I most definitely am.
What do you sort of set as the goals and the expectations of yourself this year?
Uh, I mean, I'm always a sky's the limit kind of guy, but realistically, I just want to get win some games. I don't want to overcomplicate it. You know, I just want to just win some games, just get some wins, and that just promotes more winning, and then that's where sky's the limit. You get some wins, you start earning spots and things, and it just gets better from there. So I'm just gonna focus on consistency and winning some games.
Talk to me about the environment of the Pro Tour. I guess when you're not winning, you can play really well. You can average into the 90s and go 4, 5 tournaments without winning
Yeah,
a game. How difficult is that to deal with? That even if you are playing well, you might not be winning.
it's brutal. It's brutal, but I mean, that's just what it is. It's just the best players in the world. It's that's just what you signed up for. And it is frustrating. It's nice to be able to walk away from a game with your head held high, even if you lost, knowing you played well and got just beat. It's another thing to walk away knowing you didn't do yourself justice. So that's when it's tough. Um, and that's what, causes mental issues in the game, I think. It's people that know how good they are, and when they play bad, they're like, what went wrong?
Hmm.
What happened? How do I fix it? And sometimes if you're not ready for that, like if you don't have that can make you implode. Like that's where you get bad mental, you get just like dartitis type mental issues. You start really overdoing it in your head, and then it crushes people because it's a brutal room to be in. So yeah, it's frustrating, but that's just what it is. It's the top tier players.
Yeah. Is the PDC tour what you sort of thought it was going to be when you initially got that tour card?
Yeah, for the most part, I knew what I was walking into. Yeah, I mean, I knew I'm gonna walk into the best players in the world, and they're gonna put it on you. You better be there. It's just it's it's a simple game and just so complex at the same time, like the nuances, right? I mean, it's because yeah, you could throw a 100 average, get crushed, but then you can see another top tier player throw an 81 average and win. And it's like, oh, you just won. He just made £1,000. You just played one of the best games you've played and didn't win. It could be a bit that can be frustrating sometimes, but no, I knew exactly what it was going to be. I didn't think it was going to. I was thought it's exclusively like 95 and above averages on the tour, but I didn't realize these are all just normal blokes too. They're just they can have bad days at the office as well. So that was kind of comforting, but you
Yeah.
know, yeah, ultimately, yeah, it's pretty much what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. We mentioned it a little bit earlier, but you're obviously settled here in the
Yeah,
UK now. I think you say you've been in your current place for 6 months or so now. Do
yeah,
you
I was
think
here. I've been here for a couple of years now. We just moved to this flat. We were
that's what I mean?
Wellsbourne near Stratford upon Avon for a while, and we just got this flat about 6 months ago. But yeah,
Do you feel like this is a permanent sort of change for you now? This is where you're going to be for a little while?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I've committed full time to this, and I'm not one to throw in the flag, even if things don't go well for whatever reason. Yeah, this will be a permanent thing for me.
Talk to me about I guess the different darts culture over here. How different is it playing darts in the UK, whether you're on your PDC or whether you're competing in local tournaments, ADC, Modus, or all the different things that you can do these days to what it's like back home?
Oh, it's just it's totally different. I mean, honestly, it the youth here have so much of an advantage than the youth players back home. I mean, I'm fortunate enough that my dad played darts at a high level and traveled everywhere. So I was just kind of, I just kind of grew in that just and I practiced at home, but here there's actual like the JDC and stuff. You can't even get into a pub unless you're 21 back home. Like you have to be a 21-year-old man to walk into a pub and have your first pint, basically.
Mm.
So, and darts isn't cool like it is yet back home, like it is here. It's just they don't, we do other physical sports, and darts isn't got that kind of coolness to it back home yet. It's starting to, I think, but yeah, it's just different. It's not looked at. It's just a bar game. It's like pool's bigger, bowling's bigger than darts back home. Where here, darts is these kids are 12 and younger and playing good darts because they're just in there practicing and playing and being able to kind of mix it with the other professional players and whatnot. So it's just different. It's taken more seriously here, but I think that that's changing. I think there's a big reason why. Um, it's starting to catch on more. People are starting to kind of take it more seriously. So I hope in the years to come, it does become more of a trendy. Because once it becomes cool in the U.S., and then they eat that up, and that's when you'll get a new wave of kind of culture shock in
Mm.
darts of in the U.S. anyway.
How much do you think a big result for someone like yourself in a TV tournament would do back home? Do you think it would make a
Yeah,
difference?
yeah, I do. I think that would be because you don't hear that story. I mean, you don't hear that story very much, right? You don't hear the U.S. guy who goes and wins a major or makes the final of a major very often. I know it's happened, but it that's not a common thing. And I think there are a lot of dart players back home, right? There are a lot. Um, so if that happens, I think that helps, get things rolling at a faster pace. So yeah, I think that'd be good.
Do you think the fact that, I guess, to go professional, you've had to do what you've done, you have to commit and you have to come over here and compete in the PDC, do you think that's a big factor maybe why we're not seeing quite some
Yeah,
balance emerge at the top level anyway?
I think I mean you know I did Q school like 4 or 5 years,
Mm.
but I wasn't living here. I would rock up Milton Keynes and then do the Q school. But you don't take into account the jet lag, the just the culture shock of it. and just it just all hits you, and then you're just in front of all these top players that are also looking to change their lives. Um, and it got to the point where it's like I have to like commit because I was working other jobs, I was still doing music stuff, I was just always playing darts, but it was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and it took me the moment I moved here and was like I'm here all the time. My manager's taking me to all these local comps that are available during the week, and you're just like engulfed and it's so heavy that that just hardens you up in a way that's what it took is a full commitment. But that's hard to do. Like that's I had to throw away jobs. I had to leave my family basically. I had to really change my like do a 180 here. And that's a hard ask. That's a hard ask for people back home. I think there's a lot of talent. Like Leonard Gates is doing a really, good job with going back and forth and stuff, right? I mean, Jim Long's gonna have he's a good friend. He's gonna be going through some of that stuff too. But it's hard to ask a young like person. It's like, hey, just move to England,
Mm.
sleep on a couch, and hope it works out. Because you think you're good enough, and you're good enough. That's just like it's a hard ask for anybody. So it's not. I did it out of just being like enough. Like I just like let's just give it a like go. Let's just do it. I'm like enough. Try something different, and it worked out thus far. So you know, yeah,
It's a
hard.
really, it's a really good story, Danny. I really appreciate your time today. It's always great chatting to you, and yeah, best of luck for all the events coming up, mate.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.